Привет из Дубая. С вами передача «ГолубьМира», где разбираем крутые навыки. Спрашиваем на английском, отвечаем на русском. Подтягивайте язык или смотрите перевод в тайм-кодах. Let's talk about organizational design and let's start with the definition.
Organizational design is one of the most loved skilled by me because when you are going to make operational excellence and you chart your processes in the business or in your company, you will find that the hierarchy of your structure will not match with the processes. But if you will think, the processes should be mirrored in your hierarchy, and when you rebuild it to make this match, you will find that everything would go faster, smoothly, and will have more common sense.
As I mentioned in one of the lections, actually processes should be a reflection of the functions in the company. So when it comes to organizational design, what of the company is applicable to get to be used for this skill, and when exactly is needed to start, and when we are going to start it, what are the fundamental things that we need to be aware of first?
First, you should understand that if you will ask several person in your company, several your colleagues, even subordinates to just rename process of your business, you will find that some businesses would be forgotten and no one would mention them. It's a pity, but it's true. It's alive. So first you should make like a star map. You will find all your processes and you will rename it. Then you will, on the second level, you would draw the exact phases and activities in each process, and you will map divisions of people. Then you will find time and maybe cost of this every phase. Then you will draw the same as a process map your organizational chart or organigram, and you will try to use as less bosses as possible, because when you're going to make process, you do not need bosses. You need just people who make their job on a conveyor in a conveyor way.
And when it comes to starting with this process, so who should be allies or actually people who will invoke all of the procedure, and what should be circumstances under each they make such a decision?
It is sad to say, but no one in the business except you are responsible for improving. When you work for someone else, when you наемный работник, an employee,
Employee.
when you are an employee, you should make it by yourself before you will tell to your boss. Not many bosses will understand what you're going to do, what you're trying to do. Everyone was thinking, I know this is just very usual. I am the boss. I have several subordinates. My subordinates have their subordinates by their own. It's quite usual. We have a triangle, but all processes, they are like a stripes, and your organization hierarchy should be very flat. Usually I like to have not more than four ladders, four steps, and then you will find that information will go very fast, and there would be no misunderstanding and no information corruption, and everyone would work and no one will wait until someone will finish the meeting or visiting the client.
So when it comes to the outcome of the result of doing this organizational changes, what are the levels of mastery the one person who will come and make all of the improvements could apply in order to achieve the result, starting from something basic, ending with the top-notch solutions?
My answer should be very simple, and but suddenly it wouldn't. When you are trying to improve organization, do not want to be moved from the position. They want to stay as high as possible, as they don't want to leave the position, and you're trying to squeeze in company. For example, when I was working in Alpha Bank, we were having like 21 steps, and they were too much, and I was trying to make them 4, and suddenly I found that a lot of floors in our buildings were occupied by vice presidents and senior vice president and so on, or executive directors. So a lot of people, like rats, they're trying to escape this squeezing and try to live on the side benches, ветки, bench, yes? Ветка дерева,
Branches.
branches.
Branch.
Branch. Second, a lot of people would leave your company because they want to stay high, because they want to have social package, they want to have drivers, they want to have assistants, and so on. But you can always say that for very first year or very second year, they will have the same salary and same social package, and they could show themselves as best as they could. And last level, you could make pairs of leaders. I don't know how to say it in English, but sometime I was using this technique. I was hesitating whom I should appoint on the position, and I would appoint two person and would divide their responsibilities. And for several months or several weeks, they will fight each other, but suddenly they will establish the borders, they will divide people, they will divide process, and everything would go on. And after some time, I would tell them to stay, not to leave the company, or I would fire one of them because another would be a much greater leader.
So it's interesting approach when there are two managers who work in a tandem, or like I think there is also a word for this called moonshining, like you partly doing something. So and in terms of the mistakes that people make when they're trying to do all of the organizational design and probably even executing this, so what are the common things that they actually should be avoiding?
First, you should not remember the history of the rich history of your company and the rich history of your employees, because when you try to move some people to divide divisions, everyone would tell to you, "Remember, Maxim, we are working all together for 10 years. You know my wife, you know my son, my daughter, you know my grandma. He was feeding you with some cakes. How dare you to move me from this position?" So sometimes you should use another people. Maybe you could go in short leave, like for 1 month, and maybe go to vacation in some place where you will be unreachable by phone, because this job to be done is very familiar to job which usually do by surgeon. This is cutting pieces, this is cutting hearts, this is cutting some stripes, and it is not easy. Second, you should talk with each personal in direct and very truthful manner. You should establish new kind of trust, because everyone would think, okay, maybe it's time to leave, and the best people will go in a very first train. So they will say, come on, I don't know how it's going to be, and maybe this is Titanic, which already stuck with the iceberg. So maybe it's time to go out and find a better place to work. And finally, if you will lose, for example, 3 to 5 your best people, you will understand that you already lost your business and lost your client base. So you should understand which people you should talk first, because you even just think about it. And last one, it's maybe about clients. Maybe you will use at this transition time even two teams. One which is working is in old fashion, and another one which is working in a new way.
And when we think about the person who actually should come and do all of the changes, it seems that they actually should be taking a lot of the battles, either small ones or a big strategic one, and they also have like a board of the directors or maybe the shareholders or anyone they're responsible for, and obviously their reputation at the stake. So that they need to make sure they're successful. So, what should be the competences of such people, and even experience or like different skills they need to possess in order to do their job successfully?
Maxim, to be honest, there are no competence at all which is needed to do this job. If you remember, on the theory of games, we are talking about mafia, and the main reason why some job is done by mafia, because everyone knows their reputation. The same is with people who will do this job for you. If, for example, you would be this person who will remake and you are going to be a business surgeon, in this case, you should have reputation very strong and very severe. All people which would be hit by you would check with some guys they know, maybe in some social networks, what is the person, Maxim, and what he usually does. And if they know that you are a very straight person, very trusty person, maybe they will come and will try to be your colleagues in squads.
So it seems like the reputation is something that needs to be holded as good as possible, so that you could use it in a very long term, even when the person who is carries this reputation will be long gone from this world. Last question will be how knowing about organizational design could help to make this place a better area.
When you use a small company, when you have not too many clients, you could work and you could behave like a family. But when you have, for example, 100 employees, when you have 1,000 clients, suddenly you will find that you need some process to be established in a proper way. Then you will see that some people are underloaded and some are lazy ones, and you will not understand what to do, because it seems that they are doing their job, but right now they have not too much to do. And this is very strange. But if you will shift from the hierarchy in a triangle way to hierarchy which works like a reflection of your process, you will find that all your small bosses work in a hard way. So you should go and stay as one of these bosses and try to work with this rhythm and find, is it suitable for you? If it would be suitable for you, it would be suitable for all other people. But if you will find this very tough for you, maybe you should hire more people, but not divide them for different levels.
А мы рассмотрели навык организационный дизайн и чем он полезен именно вам. Всем мира!